From insects bigger than you and me to the terrifying Predator X, here are 6 prehistoric monsters from the ocean. 8. Jaclopterus. Let's rewind history to a time when dinosaurs roamed our planet, and before 95% of all organisms went extinct due to the Great Dying. Let's go back to the Paleozoic era. The Earth's history at this time, between 524 million and 252 million years ago, had all kinds of creatures that aren't around today. Arthropods, or animals with exoskeletons, such as crustaceans, insects, horseshoe crabs, ranged in extreme sizes, from itty-bitty to humongous. Is it that surprising that prehistoric arthropods could be just as massive as a T-Rex? Okay, maybe not as big, or a Tyrannosaurus, but still huge. Picture an enormous scorpion raging out of the ocean with its claws pointed straight at you. That is the Jaclopterus. A 400 million year old fossil found near Germany was the largest arthropod to have ever been discovered. It took a bit of calculation to determine just how big this ancient animal was, but after finding a claw that measured almost 18 inches or 46 centimeters long, scientists compared research and determined the monster could have actually been up to 12 feet or 3.6 meters long, over twice the height of an average man. Although the Jaclopterus is known as a sea scorpion, scientists believe these arthropods were more likely to be found terrorizing lakes and rivers. Back then, these giants could be compared to a crocodile in terms of where they belong on the food chain. They would have been incredible swimmers, using their large front legs armed with colossal claws to snatch up their prey. Scientists aren't clear what kind of prey the Jaclopterus ate, but believe it probably dined on smaller fish and arthropods, and if they were around today, maybe humans. Number 7. Megalodon. Of course, a list of prehistoric creatures from the ocean wouldn't be complete without mentioning the one and only fearsome Megalodon. The name itself means giant tooth in Greek, and it was, in fact, the largest fish that ever lived. If you can even call a 60-foot or 18-meter shark a fish, it was about 3 times larger than the largest shark lurking in our oceans right now. Fish are mostly cold-blooded, but the Megalodon may have been more like today's great white sharks, which are considered partially warm-blooded because of the heat they produce while swimming. This would have allowed the Megalodon to hunt in much colder waters, and it had to hunt a lot. Being that big meant it had to consume at least 2,500 pounds, or just over 1,100 kilos of food per day. It was an apex predator, feeding on whales, dolphins, other sharks, pretty much anything that got in its way. Sharks don't have bones like other marine creatures, so most of what we know about Megalodon comes from its large fossil teeth. The largest Megalodon tooth ever found was 6.9 inches, nice, or 18 centimeters long. That's about 3 times longer than the average tooth of a great white shark. Its mouth was 10 feet, 3 meters, and researchers guess it had the most powerful bite force of all time. Fossils of the Megalodon have been found on nearly every continent except Antarctica, meaning they ruled pretty much every drop of water on the planet. Even though dinosaurs and megalodons are now both extinct, they did not exist at the same time. The dinosaurs died out roughly 66 million years ago, and the megalodons came after that. The oldest megalodon fossils are from around 23 million years ago, during the Miocene epoch. 6. Liopleurodon. The Liopleurodon is a massive marine reptile from the Jurassic period. 150 to 160 million years ago, ancient marine mammals were split into plesiosaurs and pliosaurs, with Liopleurodons being in the second category. The characteristics of the pliosaurs included short necks with long heads and long flippers on a thick torso. Their front teeth protruded from their mouths, and its name actually means smooth-sided teeth in Greek, so it's a fitting description. First estimates of a fossil found in France in 1873 put the length of the body at 85 feet or 26 meters long, but the animal's proportions are now believed to be closer to 20 feet or just 6 meters. This is only a guess based on the size of its skull. Pliosaurs had very big heads compared to their bodies, so original estimates were a little exaggerated. At the time Liopleurodon was around, Western Europe was engulfed in shallow water. It is here where the Liopleurodon is believed to have dined on fish, squids, and other smaller marine reptiles. Some experts believe they could have weighed up to 10 tons or 20,000 pounds into adulthood. Despite their size, they are believed to have been excellent swimmers due to their large, flat flippers that would have helped propel them through the water. Now, a lot of the prehistoric marine reptiles didn't have gills, so just like the whales and dolphins swimming in the ocean today, Liopleurodons would occasionally have to return to the surface of the water for big gulps of air. When the Cretaceous period rolled around some 150 million years ago, the underwater domain of Liopleurodon was dominated by Mosasaurus, a vicious breed of marine reptiles. It took time, but the plesiosaurs were eventually replaced, and now only exist in the history books. Have you ever heard of this prehistoric monster from the ocean? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button if you haven't already. 5. KritoxiRhino. Perhaps all a prehistoric shark needs is a catchy little nickname to get attention. That's what happened with the awkwardly named KritoxiRhino, aka Cretaceous Jaws. This shark became even more popular 100 years after its original discovery when a paleontologist dubbed it the Ginsu shark. There was once a late-night infomercial for the Ginsu knife which was apparently able to slice and dice with ease. Anyways, I digress. KritoxiRhino was without a doubt one of the biggest sharks and most formidable predators in the sea during the late Cretaceous period. The KritoxiRhino ripped its prey apart with its mouth full of razor-sharp, bone-shearing teeth. It was at the top of the food chain, and its teeth were each almost 3 inches or 7.6 centimeters long, allowing them to chomp through thick shells and bones. Their tails were also believed to have developed to give them a quick burst of speed, which means they not only ate tough, but fast prey. Evidence suggests KritoxiRhino fed on plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, and even Zoophactinus, the giant bony fish which was a fierce predator itself. First discovered in the mid-1800s, this ancient beast really made a splash when some 50 years later, hundreds of teeth and part of a spinal column were located in Kansas of all places. Found in what was once the Western Interior Sea, the massive predator was located in an area between 2 ancient islands that was once populated by dinosaurs. If you have any doubt about its ferocity, specimens have been found with the undigested remnants of the giant Cretaceous fish Zoophactinus, as well as the Tylosaurus, a 35-foot long or 10-meter, 7-ton or 1,400-pound reptile. Number 4. Dunkleosteus. Marine animals that existed during the Devonian period, over 100 million years before the first dinosaurs, tended to be small and meek. But there is always an exception to the rule, and the Dunkleosteus was just that. It was enormous! It reached about 30 feet or 9 meters long and weighed 3 or 4 tons, 6,000 to 8,000 pounds. Its skin was as tough as armor. This prehistoric fish was most likely the largest vertebrate of its time, and for sure the biggest fish in the Devonian seas. It is likely that the Dunkleosteus resembled a large underwater tank with its bulging head, thick body, and massive toothless jaw. Does knowing it didn't have any teeth make it less scary? Dunkleosteus probably wasn't the best swimmer, since its bony armor would have been sufficient defense against the smaller predatory sharks and fish of its briny habitat, such as Cladosolaki, and it probably moved around a bit slower than other fish. Times were tough in the Devonian period though. The Dunkleosteus is known to have cannibalized its own kind when other fish became scarce. All the fossils found say that they did have particularly strong jaws, even without teeth, with a whopping 8,000 pounds per square inch of force with every bite, which allowed them to take down even the fiercest shark. Its bite was almost twice as strong as that of a modern-day crocodile. They're sometimes called the Tyrannosaurus of the seas. They were as big as an elephant and longer than a London bus. However, like many other monster-sized predators of bygone eras, it seems a drop in oceanic oxygen levels killed off the giant fish that once roamed the seas. 3. Dakosaurus. The Dakosaurus was a bit of a strange creature. Technically, it was a prehistoric crocodile. but it looked like it had been put together with the parts of various other creatures, with long, clumsy hind flippers, paddle-like legs that helped maneuver its fish-like tail through the water, and a head similar to a terrestrial dinosaur. Studies show that it most likely wasn't a very fast swimmer, except when it came to hunting its food, like squid and other marine reptiles. It had large, jagged teeth and an incredibly powerful bite that could crunch through the shells of prehistoric mollusks. The Dakosaurus was probably able to take down animals much larger than itself. It is believed to have lived in the shallow seas around Eurasia, as well as North and South America. Measuring up to 15 feet or 4.5 meters long and weighing from 1,000 to 2,000 pounds or 455 to around 900 kilos, they were smaller than a saltwater crocodile but weighed more than a cow. It lived approximately 150 million to 130 million years ago, from the late Jurassic period through to the early Cretaceous period. Friedrich August von Quinstead first discovered the Dakosaurus in the Andes Mountains during the mid-19th century, and its name actually means tearing lizard. Dakosaurus has an unusually long pedigree. The type species of the genus was originally mistaken for a specimen of Geosaurus, and before that, scattered Dakosaurus teeth were mistaken for that of the terrestrial dinosaur Megalosaurus. Fast forward to 2005, when the skull of another specimen was found that was so large and fearsome, the team nicknamed their find Godzilla. This fascinating discovery would drastically change the history of marine crocodiles as scientists knew it. As it turns out, the Dakosaurus still had secrets to reveal. As they started to adapt to the shallow seas around North and South America, the animals started to change, giving it its distinctive look. Sadly though, its primitive flippers probably didn't allow the animal to move very well in the water, and by the time the early Cretaceous period came around, they had died off. 2. The Latoarchon. There were many large predators in prehistoric times, but one that stands out for its particularly toothy grin is an Ichthyosaur known as the Latoarchon, which dominated the seas about 245 million years ago. Dubbed the lizard-eating ruler of the seas by paleontologists, the first specimen of the animal was found in the late 1990s in the Augusta Mountains in Nevada. Located in Middle Triassic rock, it would take until 2008 for the fossil to be retrieved, but when it was, it would prove to be quite the fascinating find. With the back of the skull, the vertebral columns, parts of the hip, and some elements of the rear fins uncovered, the estimated length of the animal in its prime was around 28 feet, or 8.5 meters. It had pointed, conical teeth that measured about 4 inches, or 10 centimeters, with 2 cutting surfaces, which made slurping down slippery fish and squid an easy feat. They also had a head that was almost twice as large for its body compared to other ichthyosaurs. The specimen was found in a quarry along with other animals that researchers found had evolved from land dwellers into those that spent some of their time in the sea. Living only 5 million years after the worst mass extinction event in the world's history, the Latoarchon shows that ocean life was able to bounce back from the surrounding catastrophe within just a few million years after mass extinction. By adapting to oceanic life, the Latoarchon survived and set the stage for the future of other ocean-dwelling predators. 1. Pleosaurus Funk. With a name like Predator X, you knew researchers had found a stunning example of prehistoric life when they uncovered the first Pleosaurus Funk specimen. But the big-headed marine reptile found on an Arctic island had no problem living up to its nickname. With a bite 4 times stronger than T-Rex, Pleosaurus Funk was a short-necked marine reptile with 4 paddles on its feet. With 2 discoveries made between 2004 and 2012, scientists uncovered jaw fragments, vertebrae from the neck and back, and parts of the right forelimb. The second largest specimen found included the back of the skull, vertebra, and unidentified bones. Prior to that, only part of a tail vertebrae had been found. With paleontologists only finding incomplete specimens, it makes it hard to determine the actual size of any given animal. But after piecing them together, they estimated the Pleosaurus Funk was up to 50 feet or a whopping 15 meters long, with its skull from 6 to 8 feet or 1.8 to 2.4 meters long, and its body stretching from 33 to 42 feet, 10 to 13 meters. Without a complete skull, bite force analysis could not be completed, but from its bones alone, it was clear to see this marine predator, one of the largest pliosaurs described, was once an impressive prehistoric beast from the ocean. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these prehistoric monsters from the ocean? Are there any more you think belong on this list? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time!